In the annals of Rome, a story of sibling rivalry looms large, a rivalry so toxic that it reshaped the empire. Today, we'll unravel the brutal feud of Caracalla and Geta, two brothers who were as skilled in cruelty as they were in ruling. Welcome back, ancient history aficionados. Today we're taking on Rome's original family feud. Think you've got sibling drama? Well, meet Caracalla and Geta, the Roman emperors who turned fratricide into an art form. Imagine your parents give you and your sibling shared control over an empire. Sounds fair, right? Except in this case, it leads to betrayal, murder, and a legacy of erasing family members from existence. Let's set the stage. Septimius Severus, the emperor of Rome who was born in Libya, wanted to keep his legacy alive. So, he appointed both of his sons, Caracalla and Geta, as emperors. Caracalla was first to join his father as emperor in the year 198 at the age of 9, and Geta in the year 209 at the age of 20. Why? Well, Severus was a big fan of splitting power, hoping it would keep his sons united. Spoiler. It didn't work. Caracalla and Geta had clashing personalities from day one. Caracalla, the elder, was the warrior, brash, impulsive, and, let's just say, not exactly a team player. Geta, on the other hand, was diplomatic, detail-oriented, and, well, a bit quieter. It's basically a setup for disaster. To keep the peace, Severus divided the empire's responsibilities. Caracalla, the elder, led the military campaigns while Geta managed civic affairs. In theory, this balanced power. In reality, it only fueled their rivalry. No joke, they divided their palace like a divorced couple. Caracalla would storm through one side, glaring at Geta's guards, while Geta stayed confined to his half, probably just trying to stay alive. The entire court knew about this tense arrangement, and even the palace staff had strict orders to avoid mentioning one brother's name when they were in the other's section. You know it's bad when even the servants are tiptoeing. As Severus lay dying in the year 211, he gave his sons one last piece of advice. Be harmonious, enrich the soldiers, and scorn all others. Not exactly take care of each other, right? Instead, he practically told them, make sure the army likes you more than each other. Thanks, Dad. After Severus's death, it didn't take long for things to get heated. The brothers tried to rule together for a while, but the disagreements soon turned violent. Caracalla and Geta couldn't agree on anything. City planning, military strategies, even dinner arrangements. The bickering got so bad that they held all their meetings with guards separating them. Finally, Caracalla had enough of the whole co-emperor arrangement, so he invited Geta over for a reconciliation meeting, in their mother Julia Domna's chambers, no less. With his mother present, Geta thought he was safe, but Caracalla had his men rush in and murder Geta right there in front of their mother. The shock and trauma must have been unbearable. It was still the year 211, and now Julia Domna lost both her husband and her youngest son. Rome's citizens were equally horrified. Not only had Caracalla murdered his brother, but he'd done it in the presence of their mother. The public response was split. Some saw Caracalla as a necessary tyrant. Others thought he'd crossed a line. And if you thought that was the end of it, think again. Caracalla decided that murdering his brother wasn't enough. He launched a damnatio memoriae against Geta, which is Latin for erasing him from history. Caracalla ordered all statues of Geta to be destroyed, his name scratched out of records, and all his supporters, around 20,000 people, executed. Imagine if, after a family argument, your sibling decided to erase your existence from every family photo and make sure none of your friends were left to remember you. In his sole reign, Caracalla made strategic moves to consolidate power. His most notable act, the Edict of Caracalla, granted citizenship to every free man in the empire. On the surface, this was a generous act, but many historians believe it was more about increasing tax revenue than spreading equality. Rome's population exploded with new citizens, many of whom were eager to prove their loyalty to Caracalla. After all, nothing says loyalty like forced citizenship and taxes. And speaking of taxes, Caracalla needed the money. His military campaigns were notoriously expensive. Instead of staying put, he kept the empire on the offensive, partly to distract the people from his unpopularity back in Rome. It turns out, you can't just murder your way to loyalty. Caracalla's relationship with the army started to sour. In 217 CE, while he was on campaign in the east, one of his own soldiers, a disgruntled officer named Macrinus, took matters into his own hands. During a march, Macrinus assassinated Caracalla, ending his reign of terror. Caracalla's death was the end of a brutal chapter for Rome. In the years that followed, Rome reeled from the damage he had inflicted. His mother, Julia Domna, broken by the loss of both sons, soon met her own tragic end, and Macrinus took control of the empire, trying to mend the pieces Caracalla had shattered. He was not very successful and was executed a year after becoming emperor. So, what's the moral of this messed up tale? If you're going to share an empire with your sibling, maybe try not murdering them. Or at least, don't try to erase them from history after you do. Caracalla and Geta's story is a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition, familial betrayal, and the tragic costs of absolute power. Thanks for sticking around for this wild ride through Rome's darkest family drama. Until next time, history lovers, remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed this ancient drama. And hey, if your sibling still has all their photos in the family album, be grateful. It could be worse.